Chapter 14, Section 3. So, in this section, we're going to talk about the Punic Wars. And let's start with a little background here with the Punic Wars. So, Rome, okay, as it was expanding, Rome conquered the Greeks that were in the southern part of Italy down there, okay, down there in the bottom part of Italy in the yellow there. When they did this, they came into contact with Carthage. Now, Carthage had been founded by the Phoenicians. The Carthaginians controlled parts of northern and west Africa, little parts of Spain, some islands in the Mediterranean, and about half of Sicily was controlled by the Carthaginians. The Romans felt threatened by the Carthaginians. Rome wanted the grain from Sicily. They wanted all of it. They didn't want Carthage to have this Sicilian grain. So this is going to bring us to the First Punic War, 264 BC to 241 BC. Carthage was a naval power. Rome's power was in its army. So Rome had to build a navy if they were going to battle the Carthaginians. And so the Romans had found an abandoned Carthaginian ship. And they're going to begin building boats based on this ship they had found. And they added something called a corvus to it. A corvus was a movable bridge. And they could use this to board an enemy ship, which then they could fight the enemy soldiers on that ship hand to hand. Meaning, you kind of change this sea war into a land war. And so they go to war. The Romans are going to lose a lot of ships. The Romans are going to lose a lot of men. But Carthage still loses. Carthage still loses, and Rome gains Sicily as its first province outside of Italy. Go to the Second Punic War. The Second Punic War begins in 218 BC and ends in 202 BC. And in the Second Punic War, a Carthaginian general by the name of Hannibal Barca, he decides that he is going to invade Italy from the north to get to Rome. The Italians would be expected the Carthaginians to come from the south. And he's going to decide to invade from the north. So Hannibal is going to take his army through Spain, through Gaul. Gaul would be today what's France. And across the Alps, those mountains, to head towards Italy, to head towards Rome. He took thousands of troops, and he also had war elephants, which, yeah, that's better than a horse, I guess. And along the way, he's going to gain allies. People that didn't like the Romans join in with him. Hannibal is going to move into Italy, and he's going to show his genius, his military genius at the Battle of Cannae, where at this battle he faked a retreat, which then tricked the Romans to charge forward. And then Hannibal leads his cavalry to close in around the Romans, trapping 4 legions of Roman men. the Romans lose at the Battle of Cannae. This defeat shocks Rome. They didn't expect to lose this. Hannibal then goes to Rome. But at Rome, Hannibal is unable to break through the walls. He's also unable to get supplies because Rome controlled the seas, and Hannibal's a long way away from home. He's been gone for a long time. The allies near Rome were still loyal to Rome. Rome, wanting to get Hannibal out of there, is going to send a general by the name of Scipio to attack Carthage. They're hoping if they attack Carthage, maybe that will relieve some of the pressure on Rome. And so Scipio goes down to attack Carthage. The Carthaginians need to protect their home. And so Hannibal rushes home to protect Carthage. And he will end up being defeated at the Battle of Zama. Rome is going to actually receive payment from Carthage for all the damage they caused. And Carthage is going to give up Spain to Rome. So remember, Carthage used to control Spain, and now they have to give that to Rome. So all those Spanish resources now belong to Rome. There's going to be a third Punic War in 146 BC. Here's the thing with the Third Punic War. Carthage had become too weak to be a real threat. They had become too weak to be a real threat. The Romans, though, wanted to make sure Carthage was never going to be a threat again. So they go to Carthage and they burn Carthage. They kill all the men. They sell all the women and children into slavery. And then they actually scattered salt across the lands around Carthage to make sure nobody could ever grow anything there again. Hence, you're not going to build a civilization there again. At the same time as this Third Punic War, the same year, 146 BC, that was the end of the Punic Wars. But at the same time, there was a Greek city-state by the name of Corinth that had refused to obey a Roman order. Rome had ordered them to do something. And Rome is going to crush Corinth and burn it to the ground. The Roman world is expanding. It now controls all of Greece as well. And you can see here this, starting in the red, just a little Roman area, and then it grows, and then it grows even further. And at the end of this Third Punic War, at the end of 146, basically Rome was the leading power in the Mediterranean world.